Shalom, I'm Prophet Jonathan Bridges, and welcome to Building Bridges, where we not only desire to build people, but to build myself in the things of Yahweh, and to build bridges or connections to people all over the world. Well, here we are still in this thirsty message, in this message talking about these thirsty situations, this thirstiness. And y'all remember the title, this is Why You So Thirsty. See the face? This is what we talking about right here. We talking about thirstiness. And as I said last time we left off, we are in part 11. Through that 10 up, add one more 11. And as y'all know, I always do, bricklayers. Thank y'all for sticking with me all this time. Thank you to my faithful ones who's always listening. The number 11 represents leaven and unclean. Leaven and unclean. And I'm sure my Bible scholars and my bricklayers, whenever you're talking about something that's leaven, leaven biblically represents sin. And remember, whenever the children of Israel had to prepare bread, they always had to prepare it with unleavened bread. Remember this? And what leaven is nothing but yeast that's added to bread, which causes it to puff up. That's a whole nother message. I really don't even want to get into that because as PD says, I ain't got time for that right now. I ain't got time to deal with that right now. That's a whole nother message. But it also represents unclean. And we know we've been dealing with that Yeshua spoke about the house being swept and garnished. And he spoke about the unclean spirit leaving and coming back when he had nowhere to rest. He came right back to that house and brought 7 more with him, this unclean spirit. And the spirit that we're talking about now is that spirit of Delilah, which is still another unclean spirit. But before I get any further into that, I want to show you something real quick. The number 11, this is what it looks like, right? When we put the two numbers next to each other. So that's the number 11. But if you take that number, which is perpendicular, and rotate it 90 degrees, what does it make? It makes an equal sign. Come on here. And it also represents parallelism. Are y'all listening to me? So that's an equal sign and it's representing parallelism. So remember, I spoke to y'all when we were dealing with the message that spirit of Delilah, what it's working with. Y'all know when you say what something's working with, you talking about body, but also you talking about that mouthpiece. Come on here. How they speak, how they act, how they do things. You see what I'm saying? What we talked about, what Delilah was working with, that spirit meant to be not equal. Remember that when we looked at it? So that's that equal sign. And this is what Yahweh desires for us. He desires us to operate in this position that we're equal to what he designed us to be. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So it also represents parallelism, like I said. So when Yahweh is saying something, we should be saying the same thing. So everything that we speak is equal to what he's saying. Now look at this. Look how I'm holding these two. So it was perpendicular at first, right? And we rotated it 90 degrees. Now, if we rotated another 90 degrees, what we end up is having one. Come on here. One piece. All you're looking at is one piece. So this is how Yahweh wants us to operate. And when before I started this message off, I was speaking to my wife about a young man that I just sold a motorcycle to. And what happened was, everybody that knows me, I always customize all of my motorcycles, and I made my own custom magnetic phone holder on the bike. And the way this functions is that there's a magnet that's on the bike, and you take your phone that has the plate on it and you attach that magnet, and it has to lay perfectly on top of that magnet. And that way it holds it secure. So no matter how hard you ride that motorcycle, no matter how hard you lean, whatever you doing, come on here, that demonstration ain't going nowhere. For 2 or 3 years, I rode with this magnet attached to the bike like that. Maybe 2 years. Yeah, 2 years I rode with that magnet, and everybody know I rides my bike. You see what I'm saying? That phone never went nowhere, hit bumps, and it never went nowhere. So this is the relationship that Yahweh wants us to have with him. The problem, when I gave this young man or sold this bike to this young man, this was the magnet and this was his phone. He laid it on top of there, and soon as he rode off down the road, he called me later saying that that phone fell off the magnet. So what Yahweh desires for us is that to have a complete connection with him. Don't straddle the fence with him. When you're straddling the fence, that means that you don't have a connection that's going to give you the strength you need to go for whatever ride coming here that the enemy wants to send you through. I hope y'all like that. Come on here. Get that magnetic connection with Yahweh. Come on here. As a quote, I think I said this before, that smooth seas, come on here, create skillful sailors. Excuse me, smooth seas don't create, skillful sailors. So when that sea is rough and bumpy and rocking and reeling, come on here. When you have faith like Yeshua did when he was on the boat with his disciples, you are connected to Yahweh. Come on here. You can sleep through it like my wife said. Whatever's going on, all the rocking and reeling and whatever, you won't be shaken from your position. Come on here. I hope y'all heard my wife in the background. Rest in him because you're fully connected. So I hope that you're still praying. Come on here, like everything depends on Yahweh, and working like everything depends on you. So let's get on into it. Judges 16:4-6. We have been in this same foundation of scriptures for a particular reason, because we're dealing with a particular spirit and what it's working with. And we already talked about where she was from. Come on here. Where this spirit was from is that it was from Sarek. Come on here. From the vine. Come on here. From the, I heard it through the grapevine. And come on here. And I remember I shared this with my wife several times. I had an old mentor. He used to say to me that we need to wear people, certain individuals in our lives, like dusters. Come on here. So that means that we put them on when we have to put them on, and we take them off and hang them up. Well, let's bring his statement to today. For my people today, for my millennials that's listening right now. Come on here. We got to wear people like pajamas. We got to wear people like, what do you call that, baby, that the women wear? Bonnets. Come on here. We got to wear people like house shoes. There's only a place, a time that's appropriate to wear those things. So come on here, people. Why are we out in our pajamas? Why are we out in our bonnets? Why are we out and about in our house shoes? There's a place and a particular time for those things. And this is the problem that we're dealing with when we're talking about the spirit of Delilah, is that these Delilah represents, come on here, people that are in our lives, whether it may be friends, family members, constituents, come on here, associates, whatever you want to call them. And our problem is that we attach these people to ourselves, or we allow these people to attach themselves to us, and we never disconnect from them. And the problem with that is that we carry around with us everything that they're carrying also. So when we looked up Delilah, we're in Judges 16:4-6. Let's read real quick. 4, it says, and it came to pass afterwards that he loved a woman in the valley of Sarek. Remember this? Whose name was Delilah. So we pause right there, because when we broke down Delilah in the Hebrew, according to the Greek Hebrew dictionary, it meant to bring low, right? Remember that? Dry up, be empty, be not equal, fail, be impoverished, be made thin. Look at that. and languishing. Made thin represents being emaciated. This not in your notes, baby, because it's something that came for me from one of my definitions. And when something is emaciated, when we're thinking about an individual that's emaciated, have you ever seen somebody that was so skinny and so bony that you can see skin and actually their skeletal system, like from head to toe, they look like a walking skeleton? And what this is this is because this individual is malnutrition. This means that they have been brought to a place where there is not only no more fat, there's no more muscle there. So they have no strength anymore. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Come on here, hit that like button at the bottom. Y'all see it, it's a thumbs like this. Listen all the way to the end. So there's no muscle, there's no strength there. So this is what this spirit of Delilah desires to attach itself to you. Like I said, the spirit of Delilah does not care about your purpose that you have with Yahweh, but wants to attach itself to you so that you can be made emaciated, that you can be made thin, that you can be made to be walking around with no type of strength about you. Are you listening to what I'm saying? This means that you're malnutrition. When you see people that's emaciated, that means that they're malnutrition, meaning that they didn't get enough of not only enough to eat, because you can eat all you want, but you didn't get enough of the proper things to eat. So what does this mean? This means that you need to get the word of Yahweh inside of you. You need to get the spirit, come on here, the Holy Spirit inside of you. You need to get what it is that Yeshua was saying before he left this earth inside of you. You need salvation. So all of these things, your connection, as I said, when them two things are connected like this, is going to give you the necessary strength to overcome what the enemy is doing. So Yahweh desires us to be in a place where we're strong. All right. So let's get to it. Languishing. Delilah means languishing. This spirit means languishing. And when I looked it up, according to www.dictionary.com, languishing means suffer from being forced to remain in an unpleasant place or situation. Oh my goodness. That's a whole lot. That's a mouthful right there. That's a whole message right there. How many of you have had people around you in your life that are constantly asking you questions? What's this? What's that? What you got going on over here? What's up with this part of your family? What's going on in your life? How you doing this? How are you doing that right there? Delilah, here we are. We finna get to it. Ain't nothing but a monitoring spirit. Come on here. Here it is. We finna get to it. I told you Delilah had many facets to it. This is a monitoring spirit, and it's going to keep constantly asking you these probing questions. Come on here, because it wants to force you to remain in an unpleasant place and situation. How many of us notice that anytime you have individuals like this in your life that's constantly asking you questions, come on here, and you're constantly feeding them answers, how many times have you stopped feeding them answers to their 3,000 questions? And get this also, they ain't sharing much about their life. They want to know everything about what's going on in your life. How many of us have stopped feeding this spirit, and we noticed that this spirit slowly started disconnecting itself from us? And you don't even have to disconnect yourself or put no distance between it. What you're going to start to notice, and I promise you and I guarantee you this, the less you share with this spirit, it's going to automatically disconnect itself from you. Because see, like I was sharing with you at the beginning, at first when you were constantly communicating, constantly, giving your information up, y'all was like this, my buddy, wherever I go, he goes. That was you in that spirit. You see what I'm saying? And for the ladies, y'all know we got kid sister. Y'all remember that? My kid sister and me. So y'all was walking around like this. But as time goes on, once you start sharing that information, this is what starts to happen with that relationship. And look, this is you. This is what that spirit starts doing to after a while it's sitting right here. So once that road start getting bumpy, come on here. That thing gonna start disconnecting from you. So this is what that spirit desires to do. It keeps probing you for information. And as long as you're feeding it, it's going to stay connected to you. So I admonish you, if you notice that you have somebody in your life that's constantly asking you questions, personal questions about your life, and they ain't sharing hardly nothing. They want to know everything about you. I'm telling you today, come on here, as your brother, as your friend, come on here, as your prophet that's giving you this word right now, stop sharing information. That's it. Stop sharing information, because this spirit, as I said, is in a place, come on here, where it's in an unpleasant situation in its life. It's not happy with what's going on in its life. And sometimes right now, I'm talking about particular people. They're unhappy with their personal life. So they want to know more about yours so they can live vicariously, come on here, through your life like a parasite. Whew, goodness gracious. Let's look at what else languishing means. It means to fail to make progress, to be successful. Oh, my goodness. It also means, come on here, as a synonym to rot. Come on here. Look at all what Delilah comes with. Get these people out of your life. Come on here. Get this spirit out of your life. It means to decline in quality, power, or vigor. My goodness. So when this spirit is connected to you, it's trying to degrade the quality, come on here, of the person that you are. Come on here. How many know that us bricklayers, come on here, us word nerds, those that's connected to Yahweh, we are made from a different texture. Come on here. We are cut from a different cloth. And what the enemy desires to do is to cause that material that you're made of to deteriorate in quality. There it is right there. I just went to the next definition, the process of deterioration. So in other words, it means a decline in standards. So when you're connected to this spirit wants to decline your standards. So when you lower your standards, there's a phrase that says lowers one standards, right? To lower your standards means to relax your criteria for what is acceptable, to make the criteria less strict, thereby making something acceptable which would not have been acceptable previously. So what the enemy desires for you to do is to relax your criteria. And y'all know I'm a word nerd. I like to break things down. I'm sure you understand what criteria is. Criteria, let me give you the denotive meaning of that, means standards or principles used to make a judgment or decision. So what is our criteria? Our criteria is the word of Yahweh. Come on here. Our criteria is Yahshua. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Our criteria is the Ruach HaKodesh. Come on here. I know y'all like when I say that. I love the role of the Hebrew, the Ruach HaKodesh. Come on here. There's some power in that when you say it. But when you're talking about the criteria, you're talking about the word of Yahweh. Come on here. We cannot relax the word of Yahweh, because the minute we start pulling things out, come on here. Y'all remember I covered this in a message a long time ago. Once you start pulling things out, somebody else be like, hey, well, can I pull this out? Can I pull this out? What the word says, we need to make this our foundation, make this our criteria, our standard that we live by, and our principles that we live by. If we live by these things, we're going to make proper judgments. Come on here. And we're going to make proper decisions. When you feel like you have to question something, ask yourself, what does Yahweh think about this? What does the word of Yahweh think about what I'm about to do, what I'm about to say, where I'm about to go? Come on here. We need to include Yahweh in everything that we're doing. That minute that we don't include him in it, come on here, we're headed for disaster. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So this is what that spirit of Delilah wants us to do. It wants us to lower our standards. It wants us to lower our criteria. I hope y'all listening to me. Come on here, everybody, hit that thumbs up at the bottom, because this here is getting heavy. So I just gave you everything that the spirit of Delilah, come on here, this monitoring spirit that's constantly watching you, what you got going on over there, what's going on over here, come on here, that's always probing you, asking you questions, but ain't never giving you nothing back. Because I'm sure if y'all read this whole story, Delilah was constantly probing Samson, constantly asking him questions. Where's your strength lie? Come on here. I done asked you once. Come on here. I done asked you twice. I done asked you 3 times, and you keep lying to me. Come on here. Please tell me. As my wife said, and that's what that spirit be doing that's in people that's in front of you. Boy, see that? There it is. That's what that spirit be doing. We shaking up things in here. This word in here powerful. It'll knock my baby phone over right now. Come on here. That's what that spirit is doing. It's constantly probing. So let's move on to scripture. So we know what Delilah is working with, right? Yeah. So a spirit can be working with something, but that don't mean nothing when something is working with something. We need some type of vehicle, come on here, for something to connect to something. Are you listening to me? Am I making sense? So Delilah can be working with all this stuff, but let's move to verse 5. I want to show you something. And the lords of the Philistines came up onto her and said unto her, entice him. Here it is. We finna get ready to go into it. So Delilah, the lords of the Philistines saying, hey, we got somebody, Delilah. We know that you working with something. We know that you got something heavy that's going to get us to what we need to get to. But we need something from you. Come on here. The lords of the Philistines are saying, Delilah, we got a job for you. Oh, here it is right here. The scripture said that Yeshua said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired you that he may sift you as wheat. Come on here. So here it is. The Philistines, they desire Samson. Come on here. Listen to what I'm saying to you, bricklayers. Come on here. This spirit of Delilah desires you. And when something desires you, that means that it's asking for you. Come on here. This spirit is asking for you. But Yeshua said, listen, but I have prayed for thee that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. So this is what Yahweh is desiring for us right now. Come on here, is for us to be converted and strengthen our brethren. And yes, I am not done with this. Come on here. Y'all know I like leaving y'all on cliffhangers. When we come back next time, we finna break down who these Philistines were. Come on here, what they was working with and why they hired, come on here, Delilah, and what it is that they wanted her to do. Yeah. The picture's not frozen. That was just me. Well, I hope that y'all enjoyed this and that y'all really got something from this. Come on here, because I want to see y'all free from this monitoring spirit. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah, that song. Yeah, I had to pause for a second. Y'all remember that song back in the day? I always feel like somebody's watching me. I do not own the rights to this music, YouTube. I am just using it for ministry purposes. Thank you for following us to the end of this message. I bless y'all, my bricklayers, my friends, my faithful ones. Come on here, all of y'all that's out there. Get ready, because we're going to part 12 of Why You So Thirsty. Shalom. Whoo!